Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the analysis of YOLENO TV. I hope you're well from wherever you're watching this channel. Now, I believe you've stumbled upon articles from so many bloggers talking about RAILA Odinga's AUC bid being put in jeopardy simply because of the statements which RAILA Odinga made over the weekend when referring to William Samoei Ruto as a careless driver. Hope you've seen such posts. So I want to take you to another narrative here because I still think that RAILA's AUC bid could be in jeopardy for real. There are specific revelations that have been shared in one of the local dailies, and this newspaper has unearthed one of the motive of Somalia's candidacy, because you understand that Somalia fronted Fawzia Yusuf, and you also understand that Djibouti fronted its long-term foreign affairs minister Mahmoud Ali Yusuf. So these two individuals are the main intention was to destroy the chances of RAILA Odinga's AUC bid, which appeared to be almost assured. So I want to take you to a story that was shared by these local dailies because there is an alliance known as the OIC. This alliance is composed of 57 countries where it's alleged that Islam plays a significant role. Now, it's also alleged that these countries include those where Islam is the state religion, those where Muslims are the majority of the population, some where Muslims are a minority but play a significant role. So I want us to go to this latest revelation that is seeking to put RAILA Odinga's AUC bid in jeopardy. But before you do that, please like this video to enable YouTube to share it to other people who are not part of our audience. Also, subscribe to our channel if you're not subscribed before. And to existing subscribers, thank you so much for your support. OIC alliance is what is going to be used to spoil RAILA Odinga's chances. So how is this going to play? I went further and I decided to dig deep into this story and try to establish how many countries form the OIC bid. And I realized that those countries are around 26. And if you don't mind, let me read for you these countries. The story says, in Africa, OIC members include Algeria, Benin, Burkina Faso, Cameroon, Chad, Comoros, Djibouti, Egypt, Gabon, Gambia, Guinea, Guinea-Bissau, Ivory Coast, Libya, Mali, Mauritania, Morocco, Mozambique, Niger, Nigeria, Senegal, Sierra Leone, Somalia, Sudan, Togo, and Tunisia. Those are 26 countries, ladies and gentlemen. So, Professor Macharia Munene is literally trying to say Kenya should not sit on their comfort zone, you know, knowing or thinking that RAILA Odinga's AUC bid is assured. I mean, that seat is assured. You know, the mathematics behind the OIC member states, you know, that Nigeria is also part of. Of course, if I go to this listing, you know, there are countries there which might not vote in favor of Somalia's Fawzia or in favor of Djibouti's Mahmoud. There are countries like, one of them is Nigeria. A second country here, I think, is Sudan, you know. Then there is a country like, Burkina Faso. There is a country like Ivory Coast or Mali. So these are countries which might spoil the chances of Somalia's Somalia's plan, because Somalia are banking on these OIC member states. And I've said that in Africa, there are around 26 countries. So 26 countries, then look at how many countries do we have in Africa. And then let's go to the threshold. The threshold required for one to become the AIC chairperson, you know, it says that 2/3 of the majority will assure that person a direct chairmanship, 2/3 of the majority. Also, you should know that the election is going to be on a secret ballot. But again, there is what Raila Amolo Odinga is still banking on is the fact that East Africa is the region that has been assured of this position, that they need to agree on that, They need to agree on this position because this time round is the East Africa country. In East Africa, Somalia has not gotten a support from the majority of the East African countries or Eastern African countries. If you go to Djibouti, Djibouti has also not received support amongst the Eastern African countries. But Kenya has. So Raila Amolo Odinga has an upper hand here. But let's just assume in a worst case scenario where the votes, whereby AU is now forced to embark on voting. And you know that voting is going to be on a secret ballot, and I've told you that it's a 2/3 majority for one to win on round one. So let's say this is, this matter is taken to the ballots. Now votes has to be casted. What do you think is going to happen? This is the time now we'll come across people betraying others, betrayers, East African countries betraying other East African countries. I mean, these are some of the things which we are likely to see. So that's why when it comes to secret ballot, the move appears a bit scary. I mean, the best thing would have been, a show of hands. How many people support Raila? A show of hands. That way, you'll be able to tell who in East Africa is not supporting you. But let's just take, for example, this matter is subjected to secret ballot. People vote, but then the East Africa countries do not vote to support the Kenyan candidate. They vote to support probably the Somalian candidate, or maybe to support the Djibouti candidate. Let's just take, for example, of that, because of probably jealousy. They don't want Kenya to be the first East African country to have AUC chair. Let's just think of that scenario. Some of the East African countries might spoil chances of Kenyans. Earlier on in a separate video, I shared to you a story about Djibouti spoiling chances for Kenya when there was that UN Security Council. There was a membership there, and this position was given to Kenya. But then, after a majority of African countries gave that assurance to Kenya to be the person to vie for that position, Djibouti spoiled the chances. But at the end of the day, Kenya won. So we might see that a repeat of that scenario in this AUC bid, whereby Africa has given indication that it's East African countries, and most of the East African countries have indicated that Raila Amolo Odinga be the person that should be supported. And then Djibouti goes ahead to front Mahmoud Ali Yusuf to be the person vying. So Djibouti in this case is only trying to put these chances of Raila Amolo Odinga in jeopardy. The main reason here is to spoil. But again, even if Somalia and Djibouti front their candidates, and the 26 member states that they are banking on, they split votes into two. That would mean Somalia will get 13, Djibouti will get 13. Then Raila Amolo Odinga will get the rest. I mean, that is another scenario that can happen, because we know as well, we are very sure about South African countries, they will vote for Raila. West African countries, some of them, North African countries, some of them, the West, some of them, they will vote for Raila Amolo Odinga. That's something that we are sure of. So these votes will be split into two, meaning Raila might scoop almost 50% of the votes. Then the rest of those OIC countries can be shared amongst the two, Somalia and Djibouti. But there is also another catch here. Someone says further that should Fauzia clinch the support of all or a majority of the above countries, it will be almost an unassailable victory for the Somalia candidate, considering that the African Union membership is 55 member states. What does that mean? Simple. 55 against 26 If you multiply 26 by 2, you get 52. Let's say, for example, Fauzia gets most of the OIC member states in Africa, and you already know that there are 26. If they get, for example, if actually Somalia gets, let's say 18, that's a majority of those, and then Djibouti secures the 8, you know, and then from the 26, we are left with 29, if I'm not wrong. Yeah, so 29 votes, if 29 votes go to Raila Amolo Odinga, you see, Somalia still will not stand a chance. I don't know, but I think there will be round 2. So if round 2 is conducted and the same votes are gotten just the same way, Raila will have an upper hand. But again, Djibouti and Somalia can decide to, you know, based on the person who gets majority of the OIC member states. One of them might decide that, let me pull out so that I support you. So we are also seeing a very bizarre scenario happening there, because if that happens, it means Djibouti or Somalia, whoever will be fronted in the second round, will garner the 26 votes. The rest of the votes might go to Raila Amolo Odinga. And how many? Those are 29 votes. So that will be a slim margin. And it will be a very, very risky turn of events for the round 2. But of course, I know that all the OIC member states will not vote for the person of Somalia or Djibouti fronting. Some of them will vote for Raila. A country like Nigeria will not vote for those two countries. Nigeria will definitely vote for Kenya because of the relationship between the two countries. Also, we are seeing a case of Sudan. Sudan will not vote for those two countries. So Sudan will vote for Kenya because of the history between the two. You know, and if you look at countries like Ivory Coast might decide to vote for Kenya. So still Raila Amolo Odinga has an upper hand in this matter, but the chances are now slim, ladies and gentlemen. So what do you think about this latest development? Just go below the comment section and tell us. So perhaps if you watch this video and you're not subscribed, please take 1 second and subscribe. Like this video. So until you catch up again, stay safe and stay blessed.